Okay, so we are back once again, and today we are going to be looking at a ranked game, as I have just ranked out today, and this is a game taken from I think a day or two ago. Learn how to speak English, holy. Anyways, it's tier 9 because it's qualifiers, not the usual tier 7 that you would get if you were playing all the way up to qualifiers. And we have a Pomeran, a Riga, an Alaska, an Ashio, a Jutland, and a Shukaku to keep us company. While the enemy team has a Parsifal, Missouri, Jean Bart, Neptune, Kronstadt, ZF6, and an Akazuki. Now, when it comes to ranked, I've been basically bouncing between two main ships. One obviously being the Georgia, the tier 9 battleship, but the other one being the Jutland, the tier 9 British DD. Both pretty potent ships and both have a lot of firepower, as you're going to see in this specific game. We start off pushing right, and as most maps have it in terms of ranked, you have basically one map side that is a free cap, and the other one where there's one cap between two teams and you have to contest it. In this game I decided, well, I'll play it a little bit safe. I think the game before this was pretty hectic, so I wanted to take it a little bit easy, and we decided to push towards C, which we will have no trouble capping. I also see on the enemy team they have a Neptune and a Missouri pushing towards B. Now, one thing you can very clearly point out here is that A, they've only started capping B right now, which means that their DD was leaking into the cap, and from this we can slowly initially start painting a picture of where enemy ships are on the map, even if we don't see them. Because the enemy Akazuki was late to get into B, we know generally where he's going to be positioned at this time, i.e. in B, and then he's probably going to push a little bit more to the left, round about this location here. And I'm instantly detected, which means he's around here. And with that information, it allows us to make plays on the map, even if I am detected. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend taking a Neptune into ranked, because it is one of, if not the most easy to detonate ships in the game, even within smoke. Even though I couldn't do it there, but that's besides the point. It still is a very, very easily killable ship. Now, again, I should be eating probably 5k salvos here if the enemy Neptune player was a little bit better, but unfortunately that's not the case, so I do get away with playing more aggressive than usually I would in a battleship, but it was late in the day and I decided just to go for it. Now, usually I would be reversing or backing off to stop myself from over pushing here, but there's two things that allow me to push here. One, as you can see to the left, the Akazuki torps have just been used, and B, the fact that if that Missouri pushes around that island, he's going to be in for a very, very hard time between myself, our allied Riga, and obviously the allied Jutland, who can throw those single file torps at any enemy battleship that dares to get a little bit too close. And the reason I'm pushing this hard is because I know that the enemy Neptune's going to run out of smoke extremely soon. And he's gotten a little bit too comfortable, as most British cruisers do when they use their smoke. And so as a result, this lines me up for the perfect salvo with absolutely no risk of recourse. At least not from anything that can significantly do a significant amount of damage to me. Akazuki is getting pretty low, and I do think about shooting at him, but with him, and I do, and waste my entire salvo like a fool. Which means that, as you can see right now, I missed the shot of a lifetime on a flat broadside Neptune. Although, again, all is not lost. We do turn out here because based on where that Neptune is positioned, and based where I'm positioned, it's very, very real that he's going to be launching torps straight at me. And so the best way to avoid those, even though we E3 from the carrier, is to turn to the left and make a beeline for this island. We do get hydroed, but again, not a major concern. Again, the ships that can actually shoot at us are fairly minimal. And now you're probably thinking, well, torpedoes are avoided, which means we can just turn to the right here and take shots at the Neptune. Wrong. Again, you don't know what's around this corner, so the Missouri here could be reversing, And I would be showing flat broadside completely to him and take probably 20k salvos. As luck would have it, the Kronstadt pushes a little bit too far, and we do decide to take a shot at him. And again, that's why you don't want to angle in that situation. We do get a double citadel, which is obviously always welcomed. And now at this point, we immediately start turning, hoping to get another shot on the Kronstadt, but seeing as it's not going to be possible, we decide to save our salvo and turn back around. Now you may be thinking, why aren't you turning to the left? You want to get, you want to get closer to the Neptune, but realistically, based on where my guns are positioned, it's much easier for me to turn to the right, fling my guns around, and actually get a shot on the Neptune much quicker. We do get 15k, no citadels, a couple of penetrations, which is always welcomed, but again, I'm not too worried at this point. Mostly due to the fact that there's no real threat anymore on this side of the map for me. The Missouri is still keeping an island between myself and the Missouri, and well, both DDs are dead on this flank, which means that I'm free to play around with the Neptune any way I wish. There we go, and that brings us up to around about 2 kills. Now you may be thinking, the obvious thing here to do is to push and finish off the Missouri and cap. Not realistically. If you look on the other side of the map, we are down in terms of power, in terms of ships. And so, if I can lend my hand to the other side of the map and actually affect that, that'll be much more significant and much more impactful than sitting here and trying to slowly farm a Missouri to death, which is going to take a significantly long amount of time, while on the other side of the map I could be losing my Jean or my Alaska and my Pomeran due to the disadvantage, which is not something I really want to have happen. And so, as we have it, we turn to the left and make our way over to A cap. Oh, almost left the game. Not because of rage, but because I misclicked. Now at this point, luckily, and well, not because I'm sure why, the enemy's F6 went down, which means that there's no more destroyers on the map, which makes my power the more potent. And this is something I want to touch on. Just the sheer power of like central positioning. And as you can see on the map, I'm pretty centrally positioned at this point in the game. And as you would have it, the power of being in this position is the fact that the Jean Bart is basically put in an impossible position. Because in order for him to adequately not show broadside to me, he's going to basically have to show broadside to either one of the Pomeran or the Alaska. And when that happens, enemies tend to end up dead, as you would have it. And well, the Kronstadt, feeling that the situation is just a little bit hopeless, decides the best he can do is try to turn away and possibly do the majority of his damage. And we end up getting that kill also. That brings us up to 4 kills with only the Missouri and the Parzival left on the enemy map, or on the map in general. And generally ranked is a bit hit or miss for most people. Generally more miss than actual hit, and I'm not really sure what our carrier is doing, putting fighters over me, but anyways. Ranked is, and I think games in general over the past couple of weeks have actually improved quite a bit. I played a little bit of randoms, I played a little bit of brawls even, and I played a significant amount of ranked. And overall the games haven't been so wishy-washy that they've been unfun to play. Oh my god, this is such a beautiful shot, even though I think I overled a little bit. I probably should have aimed a little bit lower on this salvo because, again, that carrier is sailing at an angle. We do get 2 overpens, which is a little bit unfortunate, and we do eat a citadel from the Missouri, but again, I have so much HP at this point and we have such an overwhelming advantage that I allow myself to play a little bit like a clown in order to just to get the game over with. That being said though, we are up by 700 points to 400. And we do have 2 caps to 1, so at this point my main focus is not on getting caps, it's not on winning the game. It's not on raging back at this guy that can't even spell Georgia correctly. No, it's just about getting that cracking. Now as you can see this setting up, the Parsifal's going to push into sea, whereas the Missouri's going to come straight at us. And well, my thought process here was one thing. I can ram the Missouri, get that kill, while simultaneously shooting at the carrier, hopefully citadeling him a couple of times, and getting a double strike, and 6 kills, and ending the game. Now unfortunately that doesn't play out, mostly due to a combination of my absolutely abysmal aim, and well, yeah, no, pretty much just my abysmal aim. But overall, I think ranked has been pretty fun, pretty enjoyable, and I know that's a very minority opinion, but for me it was an enjoyable experience for the past week or so. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you with the end of the game, and I'll see you all in the next one.